My name is Mike, and this is the Hot Seat. On this morning's show, we have Georgetown law student and reproductive rights activist Sandra Fluke told sympathetic policymakers that the administration's so-called contraceptive mandate should stand because she and her peers are going broke from buying birth control because they're having so much sex. And I'm sure that the parents of this floozy is just thrilled to pop on C-SPAN and see their daughter say, I spread my legs so much, I'm going broke, I can't afford birth control, I need the taxpayers to pay for it. So in other words, Miss Fluke, because you can't keep your legs closed, I have to pay so you don't squeeze out a kid while you earn your law degree. If something is not wrong with that picture, folks, then you know what? We're done. Wrap it up and put a bow on it. We're done. Not only are we finished in that respect, now we have Hillary Clinton making deals with North Korea. You'll love this one. We'll send North Korea food aid if they comply with UN regulations on having their nuclear program inspected. So in other words, we have to bribe potential enemies from obeying the United Nations. We have starving children in this country, but we're going to feed a country whose leader just 2 days ago threatened us with open war should we, by a millimeter, cross the border between North and South Korea during our practiced war games. So now we're going to feed them so they'll comply with the UN. That's just wonderful. Just wonderful. It gets worse. The Secretary of Energy, Dr. Stephen Chu, stated that he will do nothing to drop oil prices since his agenda is to create energy alternatives, which in reality is a failed project. We've seen Solyndra go down. We've seen Ener1 go down. It's not happening. He is on purpose not going to do a thing. He purposely wants oil prices to rise and our gas prices to rise so that way, folks, we can get on this ridiculous bandwagon of, we need alternative energy sources. First of all, that's not going to happen. Give it up. Secondly, it would take about 50 years for electric cars and biodegradable cars, all this nonsense, to be the norm. It's not going to happen. We need to open up our own supply. Folks, the majority of our onshore exploration is on private lands, and the government is making it harder and harder to get permits because they want to drive us into poverty. It's a fact, and it's a fact you're going to have to accept, or you'll accept it when it's too late. I talked about on my last two shows the absolute ridiculous situation we're in with the Middle East. We've lost the war in Afghanistan, which was predictable because the English and the Soviets couldn't do anything. Now we're going to be dragged into Syria, we're going to be dragged into Iran, and that's a joke. When Obama first showed up on the scene, he is quoted as saying, oh, Iran's just a little country. They're nothing. They're like Cuba. Now he's going around in recent days saying, see, I always told you Iran was dangerous. I mean, which is it? Are they a tiny little puke country like Cuba and harmless, or are they a catalyst to World War III? I mean, make up your mind. And yet you people continue to follow him. He is 10 points ahead in the national polls. That's disgusting. And that's why, folks, we're finished. Hillary goes on to tell a Muslim group, I guess a bunch of college Muslims, because the question was asked, why do Republicans and Democrats support Israel so much? You know what her answer was? Well, during the campaign process, things are said out of context, and you really shouldn't pay much attention to them. So, in other words, you're just blowing smoke up people's backsides to get votes, but you're really not pro-Israel. Well, I'm sure Netanyahu is just thrilled to hear that. I am sure that all of Israel is thrilled to hear that we're not really your friends. We just say that during campaign runs. Terrific. That makes us look like jerks. But again, you people are voting for them. And folks, here's the majority of Obama's fan base. This is why this country is done. This is why it's over. Just wrap it up and put a bow on it. Here's Obama's main constituents: African Americans, families of illegal immigrants, welfare recipients, people who want birth control and abortions paid for, and homosexuals. Every deviant form of society will go to the polls and vote for the Sultan-in-Chief. And since 50% of this country is in some way, shape, or form getting government entitlements, Obama probably has 50% of the general election wrapped up as it is, without having to say another word. And finally, folks, I'm sick of these people on MSNBC, CNN, you name it, trying to say that the rise in the Dow Jones is an indicator of an improved economy. No, it is not. Let me give you all a little lesson. The Dow Jones is not an indicator of employment or the quality of employment. All it means is that more shares of stock were bought than were sold. That's all that means. And folks, people buy more stocks when the stocks actually are either stagnant or at a slow decline. Why do they do that? Many stocks offer quarterly dividends. So, as the stock declines a little bit, you're able to buy more stock. Certainly, people are not going to sell their stock when they're stable or declining, are they? No, they're not. That's why more older people are working longer. Their 401ks are flat. Their IRAs are flat. There has been no growth. You want to see a steady sell-off, a gradual sell-off? Because people are making money. They sell when it's high. But when you see buy, and just a complete rise in stock, in the Dow rather, because stocks aren't moving. People are holding on and just reinvesting with the dividend. So the Dow Jones is not an indicator. It's employment and quality of employment. Go ask Detroit how wonderful the economy is doing and how great the auto bailouts work for them. My name is Mike. This is the Hot Seat.